Taman woke up to the sound of breathing that was not his own. His quarters on the space station were small and dark during the night cycle. The only light came from the status panel on the wall, casting a soft blue glow across the room. He kept still, listening. Someone was in his room, someone who was trying very hard to be quiet. He opened his eyes slowly. A figure stood near his desk, leaning against the wall. The figure was tall and thin, with a shape that looked almost human but not quite right. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he saw skin that glowed faintly with silver and blue patterns. They moved across the skin like slow waves on water. The figure turned toward him. It was a woman, or something like a woman. Her eyes reflected the blue light from the panel, shining like a cat's eyes in the dark. She had a face that was beautiful in a strange way. Her features were too sharp, too perfect. Her hair moved slightly even though there was no breeze in the sealed room. "Please," she said in a voice that sounded like music and pain mixed together. "Can I rest next to you tonight, human?" Taman sat up quickly, his hand reaching for the emergency call button on the wall. She moved faster than he thought possible. Her hand caught his wrist. Her skin was cold and smooth, like touching metal that had been left in shadow. "Please," she said again. "They will kill me if you call them." He could see her better now. She wore something that looked like armor, but it was torn and burned in places. Dark silver liquid dripped from a wound on her shoulder. Blood. She was bleeding. Her legs shook as she stood. "She was hurt badly. Who are you?" Taman asked, keeping his voice low. The walls on the station were thin. Anyone walking past in the corridor might hear. "My name is Livera," she said. She let go of his wrist and stepped back, almost falling. "I am Velshara. We came to meet your people in peace. But there was betrayal. My ship was destroyed. Everyone died. Everyone except me." Her eyes moved to the door, then back to him. Fear lived in those strange eyes, real fear. Taman had seen that look before, in the eyes of animals caught in traps back on Earth. "There are hunters on this station," she said. "They followed me here. They want to kill me before I can tell anyone what happened. Before I can warn your people." Taman's mind raced. He was a botanist, not a soldier or a diplomat. He studied plants that could grow in space. He was not supposed to deal with alien refugees and hunters. There were protocols for this. Rules. He should call Commander Hyjin immediately. But looking at Livera, seeing how she struggled to stay standing, how her blood dripped onto his clean floor, how her whole body shook with exhaustion and pain, he found he could not reach for that button. "Sit down before you fall down," he said, pointing to his bed. She looked at the bed, then at him, as if she could not believe what he was saying. "You will help me?" she asked. "I will help you," he said, though part of his mind screamed that this was a mistake. "But first let me see that wound." She moved to the bed and sat down carefully. Up close he could see that the wound was deep. The silver blood flowed steady and thick. Whatever had hit her had burned through her armor and into the flesh beneath. Tae-min went to his small bathroom and grabbed his medical kit. It was basic, meant for cuts and small injuries. He had no idea if human medicine would even work on alien biology, but he had to try something. "This might hurt," he said, opening a bottle of cleaning solution. "It already hurts," she replied with something that might have been a smile. He cleaned the wound as gently as he could. She made no sound, though her body went rigid with pain. The silver blood stopped glowing as it dried, turning dull gray on his hands and the cloth he used. "I need to close this wound," he said, "but I don't have the right supplies here." "Wait." He went to his work area where he kept samples from his research. Tae-min studied plants that could survive in extreme conditions. Some of them produced compounds that helped heal damage. He had been testing them on Earth plants, seeing if he could make them grow stronger in space. He found what he was looking for: a paste made from a modified aloe plant mixed with compounds from deep-sea bacteria. He had used it on himself once when he burned his hand on hot equipment. It had worked well. "I'm going to try something," he said. "I don't know if it will work on you. I trust you," Livera said. Those 3 words spoken so simply made his chest feel tight. He spread the paste over her wound. For a moment nothing happened. Then her skin began to glow brighter around the injury. The bleeding slowed, then stopped. The edges of the wound started to close. Livera gasped. "What is this?" she asked, wonder in her voice. "The pain is less. Much less." "Medicine from earth plants," Tae-min said, surprised it had worked so well. "They have strong healing properties." "Your world must be very old," she said, "to have plants with such power." 4.5 billion years old, he said. wrapping a clean bandage over the wound. She lay back on his bed, her eyes already closing. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I am so tired. I have not slept since the attack. I had to keep moving, keep hiding." "How long ago was the attack?" he asked. 3 of your days," she said. "I have been in the maintenance tunnels, in the cargo bays, anywhere they would not look. But they are searching everywhere now. I had nowhere else to go. I saw you working in the gardens yesterday. You were kind to the plants, gentle. I thought maybe you would be kind to me too." Her breathing slowed and deepened. She was falling asleep right there in his bed, trusting him completely. A stranger, an alien who had invaded his room in the middle of the night. Timon sat in his desk chair and watched her sleep. The glow patterns on her skin pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. He had just made a choice that could end his career. Could end his life if these hunters were as dangerous as she said. But as he watched her chest rise and fall with breath, as he saw how young she looked despite her alien features, he knew he would make the same choice again. He pulled his tablet close and began to search through the station records quietly. If there were hunters on board, they would have arrived recently. He needed to know who to avoid. He needed to understand what he had gotten himself into. Outside his door, footsteps passed by in the corridor. Heavy boots. Security patrol. Timon held his breath until they moved on. This was going to be a very long night. Morning came too quickly. The lights in Timon's quarters slowly brightened to simulate sunrise. He had not slept at all. He had spent the whole night sitting in his chair, watching Lyvera sleep and reading everything he could find about recent arrivals to the station. 3 ships had docked in the past week. 2 were supply vessels. 1 was a private transport registered to a trading company. That last one interested him. The crew manifest listed 5 people, but the descriptions were vague. No photos, no detailed records. That was unusual. Lyvera stirred on the bed. Her eyes opened, and for a moment she looked confused. Then she saw him and memory returned. She sat up quickly, then winced, touching the bandage on her shoulder. "How do you feel?" Timon asked. "Better," she said, sounding surprised. "Much better. Your medicine is remarkable. On my world, such a wound would take many days to heal. This is already closed." "Good," he said. "But we have a problem. I need to go to work. If I don't show up, people will ask questions, and we cannot afford questions right now." She nodded, understanding immediately. "I will hide here. I will be silent." "There is food in the storage unit," he said, pointing to the small refrigerator in the corner. "And water. Don't use the bathroom unless necessary. The water system reports usage. If my quarters show twice the normal consumption, someone might notice." "I understand," she said. "You are risking everything for me. I will not make it harder for you." Timon dressed in his uniform and prepared to leave. At the door, he turned back. "Lyvera, you said you needed to warn my people about something. What is it?" Her face became serious. "The hunters who destroyed my ship work for the Kral Dominion. They are planning to attack human colonies. They want to start a war between your people and the Velshara. My mission was to prevent this war, to offer alliance. But someone betrayed us. Someone told the Kral we were coming." "Why would they want a war between us?" Timon asked. "Because if humans and Velshara fight each other, we both become weak, and the Kral can take our territories without opposition." She looked down at her hands. "There is more. I carry data. Information about where and when the attacks will happen. But I need to get it to your leaders. That is why the hunters want me dead so badly." Timon felt cold. This was bigger than just helping one refugee. This was about preventing a war, about saving lives, maybe millions of lives. "I will figure something out," he said. "I promise." He left his quarters and headed toward the botanical section of the station. His heart pounded the whole way. Every security officer he passed made him nervous. Every camera made him aware that he was now a criminal, harboring an unauthorized alien, hiding information from command. These were serious crimes. The gardens were quiet this early. The plants grew in long rows under artificial sunlight. Timon had always loved this place. It was peaceful. The smell of growing things reminded him of Earth, of home. Today he could barely focus on his work. "You look terrible," a voice said behind him. Timon jumped and turned. Jiwan stood there holding a coffee cup and smiling. She was a chemist, worked in the lab next to the gardens. They had been friends since he arrived on the station. "Didn't sleep well," he said, trying to sound normal. "Bad dreams?" she asked, coming closer. Or are you worried about the security alert? His blood went cold. What security alert? You didn't hear? Commander He-jin announced it this morning. There's an unregistered biological entity somewhere on the station. Everyone is supposed to report anything unusual. Ji-won sipped her coffee. Probably just a rat or something that got into the cargo. But security is taking it seriously. Taemin forced himself to breathe normally. I see. Well, if I spot any rats, I will report them. Ji-won looked at him strangely. Are you sure you're okay? You seem nervous. I'm fine, he said quickly. Just tired. She did not look convinced, but she let it go. Well, if you need to talk, you know where to find me. After she left, Taemin had to sit down. His hands were shaking. They were already looking for Livera. The hunters must have told security that something was on the station. They were using the system to find her. His communicator beeped. A message from Dae-hyun, the security chief. Taemin, I need to do a routine inspection of all residential quarters today. I'll be by your room around 1400 hours. Make sure you're there to let me in. Dae-hyun had been Taemin's friend since their academy days. They had studied together on Earth before coming to space. But Dae-hyun was also very serious about his job. He would not ignore finding an alien in Taemin's room, no matter their friendship. Taemin sent a quick message back. I'll be there. He had 4 hours to figure something out. He went back to his quarters during lunch break. Livera was awake, standing by the small window that looked out at the stars. She turned when he entered. We have a problem, he said, and explained about the inspection. She listened carefully, her glowing patterns dimming with worry. Then I must leave. I will go back to the tunnels. They're searching the whole station, he said. It's only a matter of time before they find you. Then it is only a matter of time, she said quietly. But I will not let you suffer for helping me. I will turn myself into your authorities. Perhaps if I explain everything, they will believe me. Or they will hand you over to the hunters, Taemin said. We don't know who we can trust. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Taemin had an idea. It was risky, but it might work. The gardens, he said. There's a section where I'm growing tall plants. Dense growth. And I have access anytime. Dae-hyun won't think to search there. Can you get me there without being seen? She asked. There's a maintenance shaft that runs from this level down to the gardens. It's not monitored during the day cycle because workers use it regularly. You'll fit if you're careful. They planned quickly. Taemin would go back to work and make sure the route was clear. Then he would send her a signal when it was safe to move. Before he left, Livera took his hand. Her cold, smooth fingers wrapped around his warm ones. Thank you, she said. Among my people, when someone offers sanctuary like this, it creates a bond. A sacred trust. You are no longer just a stranger to me. You are sanctuary kin. I will remember this always. Her words touched something deep in his chest. He nodded, not trusting himself to speak. At exactly 13:30 hours, he sent the signal. 10 minutes later, a soft knock at the garden's back entrance told him she had made it. He let her in quickly, looking around to make sure no one saw. He led her to the tall plant section. The plants here grew to 3 meters high, with thick leaves that blocked the view. He had set up a small space behind them, hidden from the walking paths. Stay here, he said. I'll bring you food and water after the inspection. It should only be a few hours. She settled into the space, her skin's glow dimming until she was almost invisible among the plants. I feel safer here, she said softly. Among growing things. It reminds me of home. At 1400 hours exactly, Dae-hyun arrived at Taemin's quarters. He was professional, checking every corner, every storage space. He looked under the bed where Livera had slept. He opened the bathroom door. He even checked the air vents. All clear, he said finally. Then he looked at Taemin with concerned eyes. You would tell me if something was wrong, wouldn't you? We're friends. Of course, Taemin lied, hating himself for it. After Dae-hyun left, Taemin sat on his bed and put his head in his hands.
He had just lied to his oldest friend.
He was hiding an alien fugitive. He was involved in something way beyond his understanding. But when he thought of Livera's face, of her trust, of the warning she carried, he knew he could not stop now. He had made his choice. Now he had to live with it. 3 days passed. 3 days of Taemin living a double life. During the day, he worked in the gardens, acting normal, talking with colleagues, attending meetings. During the night, he smuggled food and supplies to Livera, who stayed hidden among his tall plants. They talked in those quiet hours when the station slept. She told him about her world. A planet with 2 suns and oceans that glowed at night. Cities built from living crystal that grew according to the needs of the people. A civilization that had existed for thousands of years before humans had even learned to make fire. He told her about Earth, about forests and mountains, about oceans that stretched beyond sight, about the billions of people trying to find their place among the stars. She listened with fascination, asking questions about everything. "Your people are so young," she said one night, "but you have spread so far so fast. My people took 10,000 years to reach the stars. Yours did it in less than 500. How?" "Desperation, maybe," Taman said. "We nearly destroyed ourselves several times. War, pollution, disease. We learned that we had to expand or die, so we pushed ourselves hard, maybe too hard sometimes." "That explains something I have wondered about," Livera said thoughtfully. "The older species in the galaxy, they follow patterns. They do things the way they have always been done. But humans, you try new things constantly. You adapt so quickly. It makes you unpredictable. Some species find that frightening." "Is that why the Kral want to stop us from making alliances?" he asked. "Partly," she said. "But there is more. I should show you the data I carry. You need to understand what we face." She touched a spot behind her ear. Her skin there opened smoothly, revealing a small compartment built into her body. From it, she pulled out a thin crystal chip no bigger than Taman's fingernail. "This contains everything," she said. "Communications between Kral commanders, plans for the attacks, evidence of who betrayed my mission. But I have no way to access it. Velshar technology is not compatible with human systems." Taman took the chip carefully. "I might know someone who can help, but it is risky." The next day, he approached Ji-Wan in her lab. She looked up from her work, smiling. "Hey, stranger. You've been avoiding me lately." "I've been busy," he said. "Listen, I need a favor, a big one, and I need you to trust me without asking too many questions." Her smile faded. "Taman, you're scaring me." "What's going on?" He looked around to make sure they were alone. "Can you interface alien technology with our systems? Specifically, can you read data from this?" He showed her the crystal chip. Ji-Wan's eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" "That looks like Velshara tech. The mission that got destroyed last week, they were Velshara." "I know," he said. "Can you read it or not?" She looked at him for a long moment. "This is about the unregistered biological entity, isn't it? The thing security is looking for. You found it. You found them." He said nothing, but his silence was answer enough. Ji-Wan closed her eyes and sighed deeply. "You're an idiot. You know that, right? Harboring an alien fugitive is a serious crime. They could throw you in prison for years." "I know. And you're doing it anyway?" "Yes." She looked at him and he saw the moment she made her decision. "Okay, I'll help. But you owe me the full story after this." It took Ji-Wan 3 hours to build an interface that could read the chip. When she finally got it working, what they saw on her screen made both of them go pale. The data showed everything Livera had said and more. Communications between Kral commanders planning coordinated attacks on 5 human colonies. Dates, locations, fleet strengths. But worse was the video file. It showed Livera's diplomatic ship approaching the station. Then it showed another ship, unmarked, firing on them without warning. The Velshara ship exploded. The video included the last transmission from their captain, screaming for help that never came. "This is murder," Ji-Wan whispered. "This was an assassination, not a battle." "Keep watching," Taman said, his voice tight. The video continued. It showed a figure on the attacking ship, a Velshara male giving orders to fire. The image was clear enough to see his face. "One of their own killed them?" Ji-Wan asked in shock. "Betrayal," Taman said. She said there was betrayal. They found Livera in the gardens that night. Ji-Wan followed Taman, her scientific curiosity warring with her fear. When she saw Livera for the first time, she stopped walking. "You're beautiful," Ji-Wan said softly. "I mean, I've seen pictures of Velshara, but in person you're incredible." Livera's patterns glowed brighter, which Taman had learned meant embarrassment. "Thank you. And thank you for helping Taman." "I know you are risking much," Ji-Wan waved it off. "Yeah, well, apparently I'm an idiot too. Must be contagious." She pulled out her tablet. "We read your data. It's bad. Really bad. But I don't understand something. Who is this?" She showed the image of the male Velshara who had ordered the attack. Livera's glow dimmed to almost nothing. "His name is Korshin. He was my friend. We grew up together on the homeworld. We trained together for the diplomatic corps. I trusted him with my life. He betrayed all of you? Taman asked gently. He believes he is saving our people, Livera said, her voice heavy with pain. The Krall offered my people protection if we would help them keep humanity isolated. Korshan thinks this is our only path to survival. He thinks I am a fool for wanting alliance with humans instead. But he killed your entire crew, Jiwan said. Your friends. He would say they died for the greater good. Livera looked at her hands. Among my people there is great debate about humanity. Some see your potential and want friendship. Others fear your growth and want you contained. Korshan chose fear. Jiwan sat down heavily on a planter box. Okay, so we have evidence of a planned attack and proof that the Krall are working with Velshara traders. We need to get this to someone in command, someone we can trust. That's the problem, Taman said. Who can we trust? The hunters are still on the station. They have resources. They might have people inside our security. What about Ambassador Sujin? Jiwan suggested. She arrived yesterday from Earth. She's here to discuss expanding our diplomatic presence. She has direct authority from the government. Can we get to her? Livera asked. Not easily, Jiwan said. She's in the diplomatic section. High security. We would need clearance to even get close. They sat in silence, thinking. Outside the gardens, the station hummed with life. Hundreds of people going about their business, unaware of the danger that surrounded them. I have clearance, a voice said from the shadows. They all jumped. Daehyun stepped out from behind a row of plants. His hand rested on the weapon at his belt, but he had not drawn it. He looked at Taemin with sad eyes. How long have you known? Taemin asked quietly. Since the inspection, Daehyun said. Your quarters were too clean. You never keep them that clean. And I checked the usage logs. Your water consumption dropped to almost nothing for 3 days. That's not normal. I knew you were hiding something. Are you going to arrest us? Jiwan asked. Daehyun looked at Livera for a long moment. Then he sighed and sat down next to Jiwan. Tell me everything, he said. Start from the beginning. And it better be good because I'm about to commit treason. They told him everything. When they finished, Daehyun pulled up his own tablet and showed them files he had been collecting. Security reports. Personnel records. I've been investigating the hunters, he said. 3 of them are on the station. They came in on that private transport. One of them has been asking questions about missing crew from the Velshara ship. About survivors. They know I'm here, Livera said. They suspect, Daehyun corrected. But they don't know where yet. He looked at each of them. This is bigger than all of us. If those colonies get attacked, thousands will die. We have to get that data to the ambassador. You have clearance to the diplomatic section, Taemin said. Can you get her a message? I can do better than that, Daehyun said with a grim smile. I can arrange a meeting, but we'll have to be smart about it. The hunters are watching. One wrong move and they'll know. For the first time in days, Taemin felt hope. They had a plan. It was dangerous, but it was something. Livera placed her hand over his. Thank you, she said. All of you. You risk everything for people you don't know. For a future you cannot see. This is why I believe in humanity. This courage. Or stupidity, Jiwan muttered. But she was smiling. They would move tomorrow. For tonight they planned and prepared the war was coming. But maybe, just maybe, they could stop it. The plan was simple. Simple plans were best when everything could go wrong. Daehyun would request a meeting with Ambassador Sujin about a security matter. This was normal. As security chief, he often briefed her on station threats. He would bring Taemin as a witness, claiming there was a contamination issue in the botanical section that might affect diplomatic quarters. As a normal, botanists got pulled into meetings all the time. What was not normal was the alien woman they planned to smuggle in through the maintenance tunnels. The ambassador's office has 3 entrances, Daehyun explained, showing them the layout on his tablet. Main door, emergency exit, and a service entrance for cleaning staff. The service entrance connects to the maintenance network. It's the only one without constant camera coverage. When? Jiwan asked. Tomorrow, 1500 hours. She has a gap in her schedule then. Daehyun looked at Livera. Can you make it from here to Section B7 without being seen? I have survived 3 days in your tunnels, Livera said. I can survive a few hours more. But things started going wrong before morning came. Taemin woke to his communicator buzzing urgently. Commander Hyojin's face filled the screen. All personnel report to your stations. We are implementing a full lockdown. No one enters or exits their assigned areas without authorization. This is not a drill. His blood went cold. He tapped his communicator to call Daehyun. What's happening? Someone took hostages in the central hub, Daehyun said, his voice tight. 3 of them. They're demanding we turn over a Velshara fugitive or they start killing people. The hunters, Taemin whispered. I have to go, Daehyun said. Stay in your quarters. Don't do anything stupid. The connection cut off. Taemin quickly dressed and headed for the gardens. Lockdown or not, he had to check on Lyvera. If the hunters were making moves, she was in danger. He found her awake and alert, standing in the shadows. I heard the announcement, she said. They are forcing your hand. We need to move now, Taemin said. Before they start searching everywhere. What about the lockdown? Ji-won's voice came from behind him. She emerged from the plants looking scared but determined. I couldn't stay in my quarters. Not with this happening. The tunnels, Taemin said. They're not monitored as heavily during emergencies. Everyone is focused on the hub. We use that distraction. They helped Lyvera into the maintenance access. She moved quickly, her body flexible in ways human bodies were not. Before she disappeared into the tunnel, she looked back at them. If this goes wrong, she said, do not let them capture you because of me. Promise me. No promises, Taemin said. We're in this together now. She nodded, her patterns glowing bright, then vanished into the darkness. Taemin and Ji-won made their way toward the diplomatic section using official corridors. As staff members, they had more freedom than civilians during lockdowns. But they still got stopped twice by security patrols checking credentials. The station felt wrong, tense. People hurried past with frightened faces. Everyone knew about the hostages. Word traveled fast in closed environments. They reached the diplomatic section and found Daehyun waiting outside the ambassador's office. His face was grim. It's bad, he said quietly. The hostages are a family, parents and a child. The hunters are broadcasting to the whole station. They've given us 2 hours. Where is Lyvera? Taemin asked. Inside already. She made it through the service entrance before the lockdown tightened. Daehyun checked his watch. The ambassador is waiting. This better work. Ambassador Soo-jin was younger than Taemin expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She stood when they entered, looking past them to where Lyvera waited in the shadows by the service door. So the rumors are true, Soo-jin said. There is a survivor. She gestured for Lyvera to come forward. Please sit. All of you. They sat around her conference table. Lyvera looked small in the human-sized chair, but she held herself with dignity. I am told you have information that affects humanity's security, Soo-jin said directly. Show me. Ji-won pulled out her tablet and played the data. The ambassador's face grew darker as she watched. When the video showed Korshin ordering the attack on his own people, she closed her eyes briefly. This changes everything, she said finally. The Kral have been pushing for us to reject Velshara overtures. Now we know why. They want us isolated. The attacks are planned for 3 weeks from now, Lyvera said. 5 colonies. They will strike fast, then blame my people. Both our civilizations will go to war while the Kral watch and wait. Unless we stop it, Soo-jin said. She looked at Daehyun. How many of these hunters are on my station? 3 confirmed, he replied. But they're desperate now. They know time is running out. As if summoned by his words, an explosion shook the station. The lights flickered. Emergency alarms blared. Daehyun's communicator erupted with voices. He listened, his face going white. They've breached Sector C. They're heading this way. Someone must have told them we moved the Velshara. We have a traitor, Soo-jin said calmly. Too calmly. She stood and moved to her desk, pulling out a weapon. How long do we have? Minutes, Daehyun said. He was already calling for backup. All units to the diplomatic section. Protect the ambassador. Hostile intruders inbound. You should run, Lyvera said, standing. This is my fight, not yours. Sit down, Soo-jin ordered. You carry information that can save thousands of lives. You're not fighting anyone. You're staying alive. That's an order. Security officers poured into the office. They set up defensive positions. Daehyun directed them with quick, efficient commands. Taemin found himself pushed into a corner with Ji-won, both of them holding emergency medical kits because they were not trained for combat. I can't believe this is happening, Ji-won whispered. Yesterday I was analyzing chemical compounds. Today I'm in a firefight. Welcome to my week, Taman said, trying to smile. It came out shaky. The hunters came fast. The first one crashed through the main door, some kind of energy weapon in hand. Security fired. The hunter had shields, but human weapons overwhelmed them through sheer volume. He went down. The second hunter came through the emergency exit. Dae-hyun shot her personally, 3 quick shots to center mass. She fell but kept moving, her alien physiology tough enough to survive what would kill a human. The third hunter did not come through either door. The service entrance, Taemin shouted, but he was too late. The hunter burst through, moving impossibly fast. He was Krell, built like a tank with 4 arms and armor that seemed part of his body. He ignored the security officers and headed straight for Lyvera. Taemin moved without thinking. He grabbed a heavy planter full of earth soil and threw it. The planter hit the hunter's head, soil exploding everywhere. It barely slowed him, but it made him turn. Those alien eyes focused on Taemin. The hunter smiled, revealing teeth like knives. "Human," he growled. "You die first," he raised his weapon. Taemin knew he was about to die. He hoped it would be quick. Then Lyvera was there, between them. Her hand touched the hunter's arm and light exploded from her skin. The hunter screamed and fell back, his armor smoking where she had touched it. "No one hurts my sanctuary, kin," she said, her voice hard as stone. Security poured fire onto the hunter. He tried to shield himself, but there were too many guns. He went down hard, his body broken. Silence fell. Smoke drifted through the office. The smell of burnt metal and ozone filled the air. "Everyone okay?" Dae-hyun called out. People checked themselves and each other. Miraculously, no one had died. Several injuries, but nothing fatal. The second hunter was unconscious but alive. The other 2 were dead. Lyvera looked at her hand, at the scorch marks on her skin where she had used her body's natural defense. "I have not done that since I was a child," she said quietly. "We are taught to control it, to never use it in violence." "You saved my life," Taemin said, still shaking. "You saved mine first," she replied. "We are even. Though I think you will always be saving me. I seem to need it often." Ambassador Soo-jin was already on her communicator, speaking rapidly to people off station. "I want a direct link to Earth Command. And get me the Velshara embassy. We need to send this data through official channels before the Krall realize their plan has failed." She looked at the group. "You 4 just prevented a war. I hope you understand that. What you did here, the risks you took, the trust you showed each other. This is why I believe humanity can survive in the stars. Not because we're the strongest or the smartest, but because we know when to extend our hand to strangers." Taemin looked at Lyvera, at Ji-won, at Dae-hyun. They were all bloody, scared, exhausted, but they were alive. And they had won. Outside, the station slowly returned to normal. The hostages were freed. The lockdown lifted. Life went on, but for the 4 of them, nothing would ever be normal again. The medical bay was full. Taemin sat on an examination table while a doctor checked the cuts on his arms. Minor injuries from flying debris. Nothing serious. Across the room, Ji-won was being treated for a twisted ankle. Dae-hyun stood by the door, refusing treatment despite the obvious pain in his shoulder where he had hit the ground hard. Lyvera was in a separate room. The doctors did not know how to treat Velshara biology, so they were being careful. She had insisted she was fine, but her skin's glow was dim. Taemin knew she was more hurt than she would admit. Ambassador Soo-jin entered the bay, looking tired but satisfied. "The data has been transmitted to both Earth and the Velshara homeworld. Fleet Command is repositioning ships to defend the targeted colonies. The Krall are scrambling. Their surprise attack has become a known threat." "So it's over?" Ji-won asked hopefully. "The immediate danger, yes," Soo-jin said. "But there are complications. We captured one hunter alive. She's in interrogation now, and we've learned something troubling." She paused. "There's a Velshara among the hunters. The one who betrayed the diplomatic mission." Taemin felt cold. "Korsin. He's here?" "He arrived on the station an hour ago," Soo-jin said. "He's demanding to see Lyvera. He says he has information about other traitors in the Velshara government. He wants to negotiate." "It's a trap," Dae-hyun said immediately. "Probably," Soo-jin agreed. "But he's also offering something valuable. Names, locations, evidence. If what he's saying is true, there are more conspirators planning to sabotage the alliance." "What does Lyvera say?" Taemin asked. "She wants to see him," Soo-jin said quietly. "She says she needs to understand why he did this. why he killed their friends. They moved Livera to an interrogation room with heavy security. Korshin waited on the other side of the observation glass. He looked like Livera, similar patterns on his skin, similar features. But where her glow was warm, his was cold blue instead of silver. Are you sure about this? Taman asked Livera. You don't have to face him. Yes, I do, she said. Her voice was steady, but he could see her patterns flickering with emotion. He was like a brother to me. I need to hear it from him. I need to understand. They let her into the room. Taman watched through the glass with Sujin and Daehyun. Ji-won stood beside him, her hand finding his. They held on to each other, both needing the contact. Korshin stood when Livera entered. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he said, You survived. I'm glad. Glad? Livera's voice shook. You tried to kill me. You killed everyone. How can you be glad? I made sure you had an escape pod, Korshin said. I gave you a chance. That's more than I gave the others, and why? The word came out like a cry. Why did you do it? Korshin's patterns flickered with something that might have been regret. Because someone had to make the hard choice. Someone had to save our people. By murdering them? By ensuring our survival. His voice rose. Can't you see? The humans are too dangerous. They grow too fast, spread too quickly. In a few generations, they will outnumber us 10-1. They will consume everything. We had to stop them while we still could. So you made a deal with the Krall, Livera said. You thought they would protect us. They would have, Korshin said. They promised us territory, resources, safety. All we had to do was help them keep humanity isolated. A few attacks blamed on us. The humans would retaliate against our people. Both sides would weaken, and the Krall would broker peace with us as their allies. And the thousands who would die? Livera asked. Humans and Velshara both. Did they matter to you? They would have been sacrifices for a greater good, Korshin said. But his voice was less certain now. You're a fool, Livera said quietly. The Krall would have used us and discarded us. They have done it to 3 other species. I read the history. You did too. How could you believe them? Because I was afraid. Korshin's control broke. I am so afraid, Livera. Our birth rates are declining. Our territory shrinks every year. We are a dying people. I look at the humans and I see them everywhere, multiplying, expanding. I see the end of our civilization. I had to do something. Livera was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was gentle. So you chose fear over hope. You chose death over trust. I chose survival. No, she said. You chose slow extinction. Because that's what we get if we fight the galaxy instead of joining it. The humans could have been our greatest allies. They are young, yes. Energetic, yes. But they also care. They protect. You should know. One of them saved my life at great risk to himself. They are soft, Korshin said. It makes them weak. No, Livera said firmly. It makes them strong. Stronger than us in ways that matter. They build connections. They trust, they hope. These are not weaknesses. Through the glass, Taman felt his chest tighten. He had never thought of humanity that way. He had always seen humans as struggling, as barely keeping up with older civilizations. But maybe Livera was right. Maybe their strength was not in their technology or their weapons. Maybe it was in their refusal to give up on each other. The Krall betrayed you, didn't they? Livera asked. That's why you're here. That's why you're offering information. Korshin looked away. They tried to kill me after I delivered you to the hunters. They said I was a loose end. I barely escaped. So now you want humanity's protection? I want to save what's left of our people, he said. The conspirators I worked with, they're still planning attacks. They have weapons, ships, supplies. I can give you their locations. I can help stop them. In exchange for what? Asylum, protection, and perhaps forgiveness. He looked at her with desperate eyes. I know what I did was wrong. But I did it because I love our people. Doesn't that count for something? Livera stood and walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back. I loved you like family, Korshin, but you killed our family to save them. That's not love. That's fear wearing love's face. I will tell them to accept your information. We need it to save lives. But I will never forgive you, and I will never forget. She left him sitting there, his patterns dimmed to almost nothing. When she came out, Taemin was waiting. She walked straight to him and leaned against his chest. He put his arms around her, careful of her injuries. She was shaking. I thought I could understand, she whispered. I thought if I talked to him it would make sense. But it doesn't, it never will. Some things don't make sense, Taman said softly. Some people break and there's no good reason for it. We just have to keep being better than that. She pulled back and looked at him. Her patterns began to glow brighter. There is a ceremony among my people. A bonding ritual. It creates a permanent link between individuals, stronger than friendship, deeper than family. It is rare. Most Velshara never perform it. Why are you telling me this? He asked. Because I want to perform it with you, she said. You gave me sanctuary when you could have turned me away. You risked everything for a stranger. You showed me that not all bonds are born from fear. Some are born from courage. Taemin looked at the others. Sujin smiled and nodded. Daehyun gave him a thumbs up. Jiwon had tears in her eyes. I don't know what the ceremony involves, Taemin said. It is simple, Lyvera said. We exchange light. She placed her hand over his heart. Her palm glowed warm against his chest. I give you my light, my trust, my protection. You are my sanctuary kin. Forever. She moved his hand to her chest, over where her heart beat with a rhythm slightly different from human hearts. Now you do the same. Speak from your heart. Taemin felt awkward. He was not good with words. But looking at her, at this strange, beautiful person who had trusted him with her life, words came. I give you my protection, my friendship, my home. You are my sanctuary kin, forever. Light flowed between them. His hand glowed where it touched her. Her hand glowed where it touched him. The light was warm, comforting like sunlight on skin. When it faded, Taemin felt different, connected. Like a part of Lyvera lived in him now, and a part of him lived in her. It is done, she said. We are bound, not by law or custom, but by choice, the strongest bond there is. What does this mean, he asked. Practically, it means I will always know if you need me, she said. And you will know if I need you. It means we are family now. Real family. The kind you choose, Jiwon sniffled loudly. That's beautiful. I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm definitely crying, Daehyun said, wiping his eyes. Even Sujin looked moved. I just witnessed something historic, she said. The first human Velshara sanctuary bond. This will be remembered. But Taemin did not care about history. He only cared that Lyvera was smiling. That despite everything that had happened, she still believed in hope. That was worth more than any ceremony. The crawl came in the night. Alarms screamed through the station. Taemin woke in his quarters, now officially shared with Lyvera. She was already up, her patterns pulsing red, which he had learned meant danger. They're here, she said. I can feel it. The Kral Dominion has found us. His communicator erupted with Daehyun's voice. All combat-capable personnel to defensive stations. This is not a drill. We are under attack. Multiple Kral warships incoming. Taemin and Lyvera ran to the command center. The station shook as weapons fire hit the shields. Through the windows he could see the Kral ships. They were massive, dark metal and sharp edges, built for war. Commander Hye-jin stood at the command console, her face grim. They're not trying to board. They're trying to destroy us. They don't want witnesses. How many ships? Sujin asked. She had moved into the command center, her diplomatic authority now military authority in the crisis. 6 destroyers, 3 support vessels. Hye-jin pulled up tactical displays. We're a research station. We have defensive weapons, but we can't win a fight against this. We don't need to win, Lyvera said. Everyone turned to look at her. We need to survive. I sent a distress call to the Velshara fleet. They were already close, escorting a trade convoy. But they need time to get here. How much time? Hye-jin asked. 2 hours. Maybe 3. We won't last one, Hye-jin said. Their weapons are tearing through our shields. Then we need to think differently, Taemin said. An idea was forming. We can't fight them with weapons, but we can make the station hostile to them in other ways. Everyone looked at him. Explain, Sujin ordered. The Kral breathe a nitrogen-oxygen mix, but they're sensitive to certain compounds, Taemin said, his words coming fast. I study extremophile plants. Some of them produce chemical deterrents that would be harmless to humans, but irritating to Kral biology. If we can pump those compounds into the ventilation system in key areas, we can deny them access. That only works if they board, Daehyun pointed out. They will board, Lyvera said. They need to make sure I'm dead. They need to recover Korshan and the evidence. They'll send soldiers. How do you know? G1 asked. She had arrived with medical supplies ready to help. Because that's what I would do, Livera said. Destroying the station leaves questions. Dead witnesses leave none. Heejin made a decision. Do it. Taemin, you have full access to environmental controls. Make it hell for them. Everyone else, prepare for boarding. Civilians to the core sections. Anyone who can hold a weapon, get armed. The next hour was chaos. Taemin ran to the botanical section with Jiwon. They harvested specific plants, extracted their oils and compounds. Jiwon used her chemistry knowledge to enhance the effects, creating a mixture that would cause severe respiratory distress in Kral, but barely affect humans. This is insane, she said as she worked. I'm weaponizing plants. Yesterday I was worried about my research paper deadline. Yesterday was a lifetime ago, Taemin replied. They pumped the mixture into the ventilation system, targeting the outer sections where boarders would enter. Then they moved to help with other preparations. Livera worked with the security teams, teaching them about Kral tactics and weak points. Their armor is strong in front but weak at the joints, she explained. Aim for the knees, elbows, neck seals. And they rely on shield technology. Overload it with rapid fire. Daehyun organized the defense. He split teams into mobile units that could respond quickly to multiple breach points. We can't defend everywhere. We defend what matters. The command center, the core, the life support. Everything else is expendable. The station shook again. A massive explosion rocked the structure. Alarms blared. Shield collapse in Sector F, someone called out. They're breaking through. Here they come, Heejin said. The Kral came through the hull in 3 places. Cutting beams melted through the metal. Armored soldiers poured in, their forearms carrying heavy weapons. They moved in formation, disciplined and efficient. They hit the first section treated with Taemin's plant compounds. The effect was immediate. Soldiers stumbled, their breathing harsh and labored. Their armor had air supplies, but the compounds seeped in through vents and seals. They could not fight effectively while choking. Human defenders hit them hard. Concentrated fire overwhelmed shields. The Kral fell back, confused by tactics they had not expected. But there were so many of them, and they adapted fast. They brought in sealed armor. They found routes that avoided the treated areas. They pushed deeper into the station. Taemin found himself holding a weapon he barely knew how to use, standing with other civilians and scientists defending a corridor. The Kral came around the corner, their weapons bright with energy. Fire! Someone shouted. They fired. Wild panicked, but there were so many shots that some hit. The Kral shields flickered and died. The soldiers fell. But more came behind them. A soldier raised his weapon at Taemin. He froze, knowing he was going to die. Livera appeared from a side passage, moving faster than he had ever seen her move. She carried a weapon taken from a fallen Kral. She fired with precision, hitting the soldier's weak points. He went down. Stay behind me, she ordered Taemin. You are sanctuary kin.
I protect you. They fought side by side.
Livera was a dancer of death, moving with grace and purpose. Taemin tried to keep up, to watch her back, to be useful. Around them, humans and Kral died. In another section, Jiwon and a team of scientists rigged explosive charges in a corridor. When Kral soldiers entered, they blew the charges. The explosion sealed the corridor, cutting off 1/3 of the Kral forces from the main group. Daehyun led a counterattack, pushing the enemy back toward the breaches. His tactical knowledge and the soldiers' determination made them fight like they were 10 times their number. Commander Heejin made the hardest decision of her life. Seal off sectors D through G. Evacuate everyone you can, but seal them. Commander, there are still people in those sectors, her second officer protested. I know, Hyojin said, her voice breaking. But if we don't seal them, the Kral will take the whole station. Seal them now, the bulkhead slammed shut. People trapped on the wrong side screamed and pounded on the metal. But it had to be done. It gave the remaining defenders time. Ambassador Sujin worked frantically at the communications array. I'm broadcasting on all frequencies, telling everyone what the Kral are doing. They want no witnesses, so I'm making sure the whole galaxy is watching. It was a desperate gamble, but it worked. The Kral commander realized his secret war had become very public. He pulled back his forces, regrouping for a final push. That's when Taemin had another idea. The gardens, he said to Livera. The botanical gardens have explosive growth accelerants, used to speed up plant development. If we release them all at once in a sealed environment? A biological bomb, she finished. Rapid growth consuming all oxygen in the area. They ran to the gardens. Several Kral soldiers were already there, setting up a command post. Taemin and Livera approached from the maintenance tunnels, the same tunnels where she had hidden days ago. They worked together perfectly. The sanctuary bond let them coordinate without speaking. He went left, she went right. They moved through the gardens like shadows. Taemin reached the control panel for the growth accelerants. He keyed in the release sequence. All of them. Every tank. Then he set the timer for 30 seconds. Run! He shouted. They ran. Behind them, the accelerant sprayed into the air. The plants began to grow at impossible speeds. Vines shot out, wrapping around everything. Trees stretched toward the ceiling. The Kral soldiers shouted in alarm as plants engulfed them. In 30 seconds, the garden became a jungle. In 60 seconds, the oxygen level dropped dangerously low. The Kral, with their higher oxygen needs, collapsed. Taemin sealed the garden section. That's at least 20 soldiers neutralized. The tide was turning. The Kral were losing, but they were not done. Their commander, seeing defeat, ordered one final action. They're targeting life support, Heejin called out. If they can't win, they'll kill everyone. Not if we stop them first, Livera said. She looked at Taemin. I know where they are. I can feel their commander. He's in Sector B near the reactor. I'm coming with you, Taemin said. No, she began. We're sanctuary kin, he interrupted. We fight together. She looked at him and smiled. Together, then. They made their way to Sector B. The Kral commander was there with his elite guard. 6 soldiers, each one bigger and more dangerous than any they had faced. The commander saw Livera and smiled coldly. The traitor's prize. If I kill you, perhaps the Dominion will forgive my failure. You've already failed, Livera said. The galaxy knows what you tried to do. Then we'll die together, the commander said. He raised a device. A detonator. This reactor goes, the whole station goes. No, Taemin said. It doesn't. He had been carrying something in his pack. Seeds. Modified seeds designed to grow in any environment, consuming energy to fuel their growth. He threw them at the Kral commander. They hit his armor and immediately began to grow, feeding on the energy from his shields. The commander screamed as plants wrapped around him, draining his armor's power. His guards tried to help, but Livera and arriving security forces cut them down. In minutes it was over. The commander lay unconscious, wrapped in aggressive earth vines. The detonator fell from his hand, disarmed. Alarms changed tone. Different alarms. Better alarms. Multiple ships D3 months later, the station looked different. The damaged sections had been repaired, but not just repaired. They had been rebuilt using both human and Velshara technology. The result was something new, something better than either species could have made alone. Taemin walked through the botanical gardens. They were larger now, expanded during the reconstruction. Some sections grew earth plants. Some sections grew Velshara plants. And in the middle, a special section grew hybrid plants, species from both worlds learning to thrive together. It's beautiful, Jiwon said, walking beside him. I never imagined I'd see alien and earth plants growing side by side. The Velshara botanists are amazed, Taemin said. They say earth plants are incredibly robust. They adapt so quickly to new conditions. It's teaching them new techniques. Jiwon smiled. And our people are learning from them. Did you see the new growth accelerant they developed? It's based on Velshara biotechnology. We could use it to terraform worlds in half the time. They had published 3 papers together in the past months. Human Velshara scientific collaboration. Their work was being read across both civilizations. Jiwon had become something of a celebrity, giving interviews about the importance of cross-species research. Are you ready for the ceremony? She asked. As ready as I'll ever be, Taemin replied. The ceremony was being held in the station's main hub, the section where hostages had been taken months ago, where everything had started to go wrong before it went right. Now it was filled with people, humans in formal uniforms, Velshara with their glowing patterns bright with celebration, even some diplomats from other species who wanted to see this historic moment. Commander Hyejin had been promoted to admiral. She now oversaw all research stations in the sector, but she had requested to stay assigned to this station. My people are here, she had said. Where else would I go? Dae-hyun stood near the stage in his new uniform. He had been promoted to regional security director, but like Hye-jin, he had chosen to stay. Someone had to protect the people he cared about. Ambassador Soo-jin walked to the podium. The room quieted. 3 months ago, this station faced destruction, she began. We were attacked by forces that wanted to divide our species, that wanted to ensure humanity and the Velshara remained strangers. They failed. They failed because of the courage of a few individuals who chose trust over fear. She gestured to Taemin, Livera, Ji-won, and Dae-hyun to join her on stage. They walked up together, feeling awkward under all the attention. These 4 people, Soo-jin continued, represent everything good about our species. Human and Velshara working together, risking everything for each other. Building something new from courage and hope. A Velshara diplomat stepped forward. His name was Renthor, ambassador from the Velshara homeworld. He carried a crystal case containing something that glowed softly. On behalf of my people, Renthor said in fluent standard, I present these awards of valor. To Taemin, who gave sanctuary when it was dangerous. To Ji-won, who used knowledge as a weapon. To Dae-hyun, who defended the innocent. And to Livera, who carried hope through darkness. He placed medals around their necks. The medals were made from Velshara crystal and earth gold forged together. Symbols of 2 civilizations joined. But this is not just about 4 people, Renthor continued. This is about what they represent. A new era. Humans and Velshara together. We formally announce today the Alliance of United Systems. Our first alliance with a younger species in 2,000 years. The room erupted in applause. Cameras recorded everything. This moment would be in history books for centuries. After the ceremony, there was a reception. Taemin tried to escape the crowd, needing air. He found Livera on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. Tired of being a hero? She asked without turning. Very tired, he admitted, joining her. I just wanted to grow plants. Now I'm on recruitment posters, she laughed. It was a sound he had come to love. Light and musical. I just wanted to be a diplomat. Now I'm the first permanent Velshara liaison to humanity. We both got more than we expected. They stood in comfortable silence. Through the window they could see ships coming and going. Human ships, Velshara ships, even some from other species wanting to see this new alliance. The station had become a hub of diplomatic activity. Do you ever regret it? Taemin asked. That night when you came to my room. If you had gone somewhere else, your life would have been simpler. Simpler, Livera said thoughtfully. Maybe, but emptier. I was running, scared, alone. You gave me hope. You showed me that not everyone chooses fear. Some people choose to be better. She turned to him. I have something for you. A gift from my world. She held out a small crystal. It glowed with soft light, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. This is a homeworld crystal. Every Velshara keeps one, to remember where we come from. I want you to have it. I can't take this, Taemin protested. It's too important. That's exactly why you should take it, she said. You are my sanctuary kin. You are family. And family shares what is most important. He took the crystal carefully. It was warm in his hand, alive with energy. Thank you. And I have something for you, he said. From his pocket, he pulled a small container. Inside was soil. Earth soil. This is from my family's land. From the place where my ancestors grew food for generations. I want you to have it, so you can grow something from Earth on your homeworld. Her patterns brightened with emotion. This is precious. I will treasure it. We'll plant something together, he said. Something that represents both our worlds. A symbol of what we're building, she smiled. I'd like that. The door opened. Ji-won stuck her head out. There you are. Admiral Hee-jin is looking for you both. Something about a new research project. Apparently, they want to establish botanical research stations on the Velshara homeworld and on Earth exchange programs. Of course they do, Taemin sighed. But he was smiling. They followed Ji-won back inside. As they walked, Livera asked the question that had started everything. Can I rest next to you tonight, human? It had become their private joke. Something to remind them of how far they had come. But this time, Taemin's answer was different. You don't have to ask anymore. My quarters are your quarters. My home is your home. Our home, she corrected gently. Our home, he agreed. Life on the station had changed. More Velshara lived there now, working alongside humans. Cultural exchanges happened daily. Children learned both languages. Scientists collaborated on projects that would have been impossible before. The sealed sections had become a memorial. Names of those who had died defending the station were carved into the walls. Human and Velshara names together, a reminder of the cost of peace. Korshan remained imprisoned, but he cooperated with investigators. His information had led to the arrest of 17 conspirators across 3 star systems. The war that would have killed millions had been prevented. But Livera never visited him. Some betrayals could not be forgiven. The Kral Dominion faced trials at the Galactic Court. Their aggressive expansion had been checked. Other species, seeing humans and Velshara united, began reaching out for their own alliances. The balance of power was shifting, and in a small room on a research station, 4 people who had started as strangers had become family. That evening, Taemin returned to his quarters. Their quarters now. Livera had moved in officially after the alliance was announced. Her belongings mixed with his. Velshara crystals next to Earth photographs, 2 cultures sharing one space. He found her watering the plants they kept by the window, a mix of earth ferns and Velshara light vines growing together in the same pot. She had discovered she loved gardening, finding it peaceful after months of chaos. "I spoke with my birth family today," she said without looking up. "They want to meet you. They're coming to the station next month." "Are they angry?" Taemin asked. "About the sanctuary bond? Angry?" She turned, surprised. "No, they're grateful. You saved their daughter's life. They want to honor you as true family." "I don't know your customs," he said nervously. "What if I make a mistake?" She laughed and took his hands. "Then you make a mistake. They'll understand. You're human. They expect you to be different. That's what makes this beautiful." A message chimed on his terminal. He checked it and smiled. "My parents are coming too. They want to meet the alien woman who's been living with their son." "And are they angry?" Livera asked, echoing his question. "No," he said. "They're curious. And proud, I think. My father said I'm doing something important. My mother just wants to make sure I'm eating properly." They both laughed. Some things were universal across species. Parents worried about their children. "There's something else," Livera said, becoming serious. "The Velshara Council has offered me a position. Chief Liaison for Human Relations. It's a high honor. I would help shape policy between our peoples for generations." "That's wonderful," Taemin said, though his heart sank. "Would you have to leave?" "That's the question I asked," she said. "They said I could base myself anywhere. Earth, the homeworld, or here." She stepped closer. "Where do you want to be?" He thought about it. Earth called to him sometimes.